Hi guys, and welcome to this Bootstrap 4 with brackets text editor video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. In this video we're going to add some PHP or create a PHP contact form so we can get our contact forms actually working and sending mail. So you've built a site or downloaded a template and you've got subscription forms and contact forms and they all look great and you can fill them out. Well, let's just hit the contact button, that'd be easiest. And you can fill them out and things happen. But of course when you hit submit, nothing's going to happen. Well, A, because this is not on a live server, and B, even if it was on a live server, nothing's telling this form what it's supposed to do when you hit the submit button. So we're going to use a bit of PHP to fix that and make this work. Now before I start, what you've got to understand about PHP is that it's a live scripting language, so it's only going to work on a live server. So if you're building this site on your local machine, you're going to need to upload it to a live server to make the PHP work, or have a local hosting environment that runs PHP. So that said, I'll take you through the whole thing of uploading it and we'll do everything. So let's open our Brackets software. Brackets is a free text editor and it's absolutely awesome, and you can download it from a link below this video. Let's create a new document. So go up to File and hit New. And we're going to start typing some stuff in here. It's PHP. It may not look familiar to you, but that's okay. Just follow along. So we're going to open a bracket and put a question mark, which is the usual opening tag for PHP. And then I'm just going to close out the PHP. And to make this form more readable, let's just save it. And we've got to save it as PHP. So let's save it to the same place as we saved our Bootstrap files. So we're going to say save as. And here's our Bootstrap folder with all our files in it: CSS, images, videos, JavaScript, index.html. Let's just save it as, we'll just call it contact. You can call yours what you want, but just remember what you called it. And make sure you put .php after it so it knows what type of form it's saving it as. Okay, so let's start writing a bit of PHP. Let's bring our site up and see what forms we got on it. Okay, here's our contact form. Let's refresh and get that junk out of the way. We've got a name, we've got an email, and we've got a message field. So we want name, email, and message. We can actually use the same PHP form for our subscriber, which only has a name field and an email field. We might decide to do a separate one later on, but we can probably use the same one for both for the time being. So we've got a name, an email, and a message field. So let's put those in. Back to our brackets. Okay, let's tab across. Now we start with the $sign for a name, and the next one was email, and the next one was message, wasn't it? Okay. Now the name, what do we want it to do? Well, we want all of these to do the same things, which is post. So it's $, underscore, capital POST, and it's really important that you do all this exactly the same, or else you're going to have a problem. And we can copy this, and we want all of those to do this. Put those there. Just save that, Control S. Now what we've got to do, we've got to give our name field, email field, and message field an actual name of their own. So if we go to our index.html, the site that we've built. Let's go down to our forms here. Here's the first one. That's right, we've got two different versions of it, one for a mobile and one for a desktop. Alright, so here's our form. And if we see the action here, it's just got the generic page PHP in there, which is nothing. It's not even going to do anything. So we want to put the name of our PHP form in there, which is contact PHP. And this will all become clearer later on. And I'm going to copy that into our duplicate form that we've got below here. Action. So when we click on it, we want it to load the contact PHP or run the contact PHP. Now each of our fields here, this is what we want to do. We want to give them a name. Here's the first text field and it's for the name. So let's give it the name of name. Keep it simple. I'm just going to copy that. And this one, I'm going to give it the name of email because it's the email, their email. I'm just trying to keep this as simple as possible. Submit, we don't need to do anything of that, but this, our duplicate form below, we do need to do the same thing. We'll give it the name of name and the email field, the name of email. That's fine. We've got no message field in this because it's just that subscriber form. If I show you here, that one we were working on there is just this inline subscriber form. So all you've got is a name and an email field in there. Now let's move on down to our contact form, which is quite a ways down here. Here we go, here's the contact form. And again, form action, there's nothing in there at all. And we want it to go to our contact PHP that we've just started building. And again, we want to give our field a name. So this is the name, John Doe. So just before the type, I'm going to put in that name. And the next one down is email address, and it's an email. So let's put in the name and call it email. Like I say, you can call these what you want, but I'm trying to keep it simple here. And here's our message. So let's put in, let's give it a name. We'll call this message. And let's save that. Now that all of our fields have got a name associated with it, each field. So we save that. So that's called name, that's called email. And if we slide down to the contact form, that's called name, that's called email, and that's called message right there. All right, well, let's go back to our PHP and continue writing some. Okay, so we wanted to post the name, and we'll give that the name of what we called that field, which was name. So you just want to open some square brackets, and we'll put an inverted comma in there, and we'll write name. Now we'll do the same thing below. We want to make sure we put a semicolon after each one, just like our CSS here. And square bracket, and this one was called email. See, by calling them the same name, I've kept it pretty simple here. And this one was called message. Okay, so it's going to tell it to get those fields, make sure we got those semicolons on the bottom there. Now we want to go down and When we get the email, what do we want it to say? So it's going to be email from, and you're going to want it to say something. So email from, that was an underscore there. And what do we want it to say? Just open some single inverted commas. Let's say from Styles Restaurant. So that's the name of the site itself that we were using there. Now the subheading, what we want it to say, I guess we'll have to say something else. So, you know, in the subject line, which will be email, subject. And again, we've just got to tell it what we want to say here. And I mean the standard sort of new message from website, or let's use single inverted there. New message. I don't know, from Styles. Okay, and then in the name, in the body of the email, this is where we want the information that our user has put in. You know, for instance, their name, their email address, and the message that they've sent. So that's email body underscore body, and that's going to equal, this is what's going to appear in our actual email field. So we're going to have a name, and beside that name we're going to have whatever it is they filled in for their name here. So I'll put a colon, and then I'm going to put that name, $name right there, and it should fill in what they've put in inside their name. I'm going to hit a period and a backspace and an N for a new line. And then after that, I'm going to close this out with a period because we've got a few other things that we want to add. So I'm going to put a period there. Now, underneath the name, we want them to fill out their email. So we'll do the same thing. And in the message itself, we want it to say email. So we know that's what their email address is. Not that that's not going to be obvious. And then, of course, # email. So it's going to fill out this detail that they filled in there. And again, we want to put a period, a backslash, and an N for a new page. And then after the inverted comma, put another period because we're going to add one more here, which is, of course, message. And this may seem a little strange right now, but it'll all become apparent as we do this. And as I'm sure you know, we're going to use this, the message, so it's whatever they put in their message there. So $message. And do make sure that these are spelled exactly the same. Don't put any caps in or anything if they haven't got caps, because it will not work. It is very case sensitive PHP. And again, we'll just put a backslash and hit a new line now. We can probably get away without that on this one, but I'm going to do it anyway. Now I'm going to put a semicolon because we're going to move on down and get our next things going. Now, we've told it that they're going to fill out their name, email, message here, and we've told it when it sends us our email, we want it from the Styles Restaurant site, and the subject line we want as new message from Styles Contact. Then below that, we want whatever they filled out here, but we haven't told it where it needs to go. So let's put in where we want it to be sent to, and this can be your whatever email address you like your messages to be sent to. I'll give it a bit of extra space there. And all you have to do is write to, that's going to equal and then put in your email address. When we go live, I'll have to put in my real email address there, obviously. Okay, so semicolon, because we're going to add a bit more. Now we've got to sort of tell it where it's got to put this stuff. And in the headers, the header of the email, so it's headers. We want it to say who it's from. So we're going to open some inverted commas there. We're going to write from. And then we're going to put email underscore from. And again, we're going to return it. This time we're going to use \r and \n. And then a little semicolon right after that inverted comma there. Now, the next lot of headers is really for if we want to reply to them. So it's going to reply to the correct email. So we're going to put headers again. This time we're just going to add a period just to separate the one from the other so it doesn't get confusing. And it equals, open and close some inverted commas, reply -to, and then we'll put email then, because we want to reply to whatever it was they put in for this email value up here, which is their email address. All right, and again we want it to return a new line. So okay, so it's looking good. Now we've got to actually tell the mail what it needs to do, what actions it wants to take here. So let's say mail, open some rounded bracket, and inside there we want to add the to. So it's going to send to your email address there. We want to add the email. We want to add the email subject. I'm putting commas in between these, no space. And then the email body. So we've got the email subject and the email body, which contains all of this information here. Plus, we want both of these headers, from, and then when we reply, we want it to reply to that email there. So we can just add headers. And again, unlike when you're typing regular Word documents, do not put a space after your commas there. All right, we're almost done with this now. Then once they've submitted, what do we want it to do? Well, for the time being, we're just going to send them back up to the top of the page. So we're going to say header, open some round brackets one more time, and some inverted commas, and we're going to say location, where we want them to go. So colon. I guess we'll just go to the index.html, which is our page name, so it's just going to go to the top of the page there. And put a little semicolon after that in case we want to add anything else. Just tidy up that little gap there at the bottom. There is our contact PHP. Now then, how are we going to make this all work? Well, the first thing I need to do is save it, Control S. Now, if we look in our Bootstrap 4 folder, here's our Bootstrap 4 folder. We've now got our regular index.html page, and we've got our contact PHP file that we've just created there. Now remember at the beginning I told you that this will not work unless you're on a live server. It's a live code, it needs a live hosting server. So we want to make sure we've got our website online. So I'm going to drag these all up to my web server. I'm going to use a free bit of FTP client called FileZilla. Okay, let's just go through, make sure everything's good. It's like grammar, we've got to have everything punctuated correctly. That looks good, that's fine, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, missing a semicolon off of there. If you miss off a semicolon, it will stop at that point and won't activate any of this below. Oh, that's fine, that's good. That I'll have to put my own email in there in a moment. Okay, that looks good. That looks, oh, hello, that should not be a hyphen, that should be an underscore. Okay, L2. It's really important, like I said before, everything's got to be spot on or else things will not work correctly. Alright, I believe I'm happy with that. So I'm going to save it. What I'll do is I'll put in my own email address, then we'll upload Okay, everything's ready. I put my email address in there instead of that your email address. Now let's upload this whole site to a live server. So here's our Bootstrap folder with all our website files in it, CSS, images, JavaScript, video, contact PHP that we've just built, and our index.html. All we need to do is grab those and upload them to a live server. How do you do that, you say? Well, it's really easy. I'm going to use a bit of free software called FileZilla. I'll put the link below here, an FTP client. And what we've got going on here, on the left side here, are my computer files. And it's just the directory of my computer and the folders in it. And this particular bit here is this folder that I just showed you with our website files in it. On the right side, I've got it connected to my hosting provider. I've got hundreds of websites on there. I've just created a subdirectory called Bootstrap 4. At the moment, there's nothing in it. If you're only hosting one website, you've probably just got nothing there. You'll be just uploading to your public HTML, but check with your hosting provider. It's really easy. And all we need to do, left click and drag and select those. And I'm going to left click on it, keep my finger down and pull them across to my hosting provider directory right here. And it's starting to copy them across. And that's all you have to do with Bootstrap. It's part of the reason I love it so much. It's so lightweight, it's really easy. It's not like WordPress, you don't have to install anything. You literally build it on your desktop, drag it across to the live server, and there it is. Don't get me wrong, I love WordPress too. It's got some great bells and whistles. But when I'm building corporate sites or one-page sites or splash pages, landing pages, anything like that, I'll use Bootstrap every time because it's so lightweight, it loads quickly and it's really easy. Okay, well that's finished now. I've got reasonable speed here, so that didn't take long to upload. Now let's go and see our site live online and see if we can't send an email to ourselves. So I'll go to my regular site because it's on a subdomain of that. And I called the subdomain BS4. There it is. So how quickly did that load? So let's go down to our first contact form here and see if it's going to work. This is our sign up form. And I'll just put in a random email there, me@myemail.com, which is a usual tester I use. So let's click that, jump back up to the top of the page, and the reason it did that, because in our PHP form at the bottom we told it to go to the index.html, which is right here. So it's basically the top of this page. Okay, let's go down to our contact form this time. Let's fill this out. Just put something random in here. I'll just say contact. www contact. And again, something pretty random. That'll do for an email address. And inside here, okay, and hit the submit button, and again it should pop up to the top of the page. There we go. And I'll wait a minute or two, then I'll go to my Outlook email client and see if I've received those emails. Okay, so it's about a minute, 2 minutes later, and we've got both those messages through. Top one, I guess, was the last one we sent, was from the contact form, and there's the email, there's the message, there's the header that we put in. It's from Styles Restaurant site, and it's a new message from Styles Contact, which we told it to put in the subject field. And now if we hit the reply, it should reply back to that email address. Yeah, good, it did. Fantastic. Okay, so I don't need that. Now here's the one that will be from the sign up subform. And of course there's no message because there's no message field in there to have a message. So there's the name and there's the email. So that's working great. Great, everything's working fine. Well, let's take this a step further. The only thing, I mean, you can do a PHP form for each of these, so they've got a different subject if you want, but I'm just going to leave that as it is and just do exactly what we did, but just change your message up here. If you want it to say from subscriber form or something like that, and then you can farm out your email addresses and put them into your mail client. Things like MailChimp, Constant Contact, they have their own forms you can put on your site to do that automatically. But let's, instead of, when we sent this form, it just popped back up to the top. I'd like for it to I don't know, go to a page that says thank you, you sent your message. So let's do that. Let's go back to our brackets. I know this is going on a bit, this video, but it will be worthwhile. And here's our index.html, our page. And basically I'm going to steal some stuff from it. Let's have a look, see. We want it to have a header. And that's about it. Yeah, then we could have something like this saying thanks, your message has been sent. And that's probably about it. Let's have the map in there and the footer. Everything else we can get rid of. So let's take our site here, our index.html, and zoom back up to the top. And let's go under the, here's the carousel, we don't want this. We'll take it all the way down to that Jumbotron. I'll probably zoom past it. It's a wine selection, wine menu. Here we go, there's a Jumbotron. Delete all of that. And I'll take this bit down to the Google map. That's the video section, got a ways to go yet. There's the Google map and the footer. Let's delete that. Okay, so all we've got is our nav bar, then we've got that little Jumbotron, and let's change that to Thanks for reaching out. Staff. Our staff will reply to your message. Hit the button to return home, and we'll just say styles, I guess, in there. Now don't say that because you'll overwrite your existing index.html page, and I hope you've got a backup of it if you have, so make sure you don't say that as index.html. So we're going to save it as, here's our Bootstrap folder, I'm going to say success.html. Okay, so we'll save that. Now if we go to our page here, we've got another page in there called success.html, and let's open it up. There we go. This is what we've got, and that will take us back to the home page. Well, that won't take us back to the home page because I didn't tell it to. So here's the button. Where is it going at the moment? href favorites. There's no favorites for it to go to, so index.html page. There it is right there. Okay, let's save that. Let's try that again. Just refresh that page. And there we go. It's taken us back to the home page, which is what we want. Now, when we send that contact form, we want to, let's go back to that contact form. This time, on the location, we want to tell it to hit the success page. Success.html, which is what we called it. There it is right there. Save that. Now let's upload our new page and our updated contact PHP file to our server. Let's refresh this. I'm just right clicking and hit refresh. There's our success page. Left click, drag it across, upload it to the server. Contact PHP, just drag it across and it will prompt us to update the one that's there, or overwrite. That's exactly what we want to do. It's fine. Okay. Let's have a go at sending that again. That's not our live page. That is our live page. Okay. Just refresh that. Let's go back up to the top. Let's send from here. Good, that time it took us that. Thanks for reaching out. Our staff will reply to your message. Like I say, you can have a different one for your subscriptions there, and a different one for your contact, different PHP. And you just changed what it wants to do. So you write another one that's got a different message. Thanks for subscribing. Or in your success page, you could have a subscription page. You could say thanks for subscribing or whatever. We will add you to our mailing list, whatever you want to call it. Save it as another page, upload it. Then on your next contact one, just copy this one, give it subscribe HTML or whatever you've called that page there, and change the message new subscriber. Job done. Okay, let's do the contact form, see if that's going to work as well. Do another random one here. And if you, it will validate if you don't put an @ in there, and you try and send it, it'll error out on you. Now if I try and send this, it should flag it right there. Yeah, please include an @ We'll just put an @ in there. And you can make these fields required if you wish, and it'll error out on them as well if they don't fill it out. That's very easy to do. Right, let's send this. And again, it's gone to that success page here. And hit the button to return home. Boom. That way people know that their message has been sent. Sometimes if it just jumps up to the back of the top of the page, they think, well, did that get sent? Or did it just glitch out or what? Good. It's just been a couple of minutes again. Here's the first one we sent. It's me at my email just there. That's fine. And here's the second one with that message and blah, blah, blah. A lot of Z's going on there. So everything is good to go. So that's how to add PHP to your site to enable your contact forms and subscription forms to work. I hope you found that useful. If you have, please like and share the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're interested in web development, take one of our web development courses below. We've got some huge discounts for our YouTube subscribers. There's also some great free courses down there. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.